I made up some terms called, well, energy harvesting. That's already been invented because that's used more in the energy healing world or in the conspiracy reptilian David Icke world, the ascension world. Okay. I think I made up a term called Loosh Looter, and I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it is a term that's appropriate, especially on Facebook, because there's a lot of people who want to take people's energy. They want to go loot people's energy by getting them to react, by finding ways to keep themselves alive, by parasiting off of somebody else. And if you want to know an example of loose looting, okay, go to the YouTube blogger world. I was on there. I'm not going to say this girl's name because I don't need to say her name. Maybe you know who I'm talking about, but I had an issue with her a long time ago. Uh, it was like in 2019 and a lot of controversy. This is when I was going after all the different journalists. And right now she's dealing with well, she deals in loosh looting, which is basically capitalizing on the suffering of other people. So loosh is suffering energy. And then there are entities out there, people, okay, that derive so much benefit by capitalizing on the suffering of other people, and they what they do is they compound it. They don't like add any more life energy to that situation. They actually keep taking. It's like they compound the the looting. And that you can call that bullying. Yes, you can call that the cancel culture. Okay. But you got to understand it from the point of view of energy, because it takes energy to make energy. And how you get energy is what makes your business ethical or unethical. And the Jilly Juice world is trying to go down a different road. We're not, I know it sounds like, oh, we're a cult, because I say like we're not. But the point of Jilly Juice is not to capitalize on the suffering of others. That when somebody is suffering, we add to their evolution. We don't take away from their evolution. That's the point of Jilly Juice. That's why this protocol exists, because it adds the energy. Okay, and energy is currency. And I learned about energy and currency and the equal exchange of energies early on when I first rolled out the J Juice, because people were like, wow, you're giving away all this information and no one's giving you any money. And that's when I started charging for my time, which, okay. And that's when I was in a lot of hot water with the government and with different people who didn't understand where it was coming from, because I wasn't able to convey it and articulate it properly, because I still was very early on in my research. So I had to deal with harnessing a lot of negative energy and positive energy. I mean, and I was rich when you think about it, okay? Because energy, whatever it comes from, it's currency. You're able to convert it. I mean, no different than when you take a dollar and convert it to like a euro. It's currency. It's energy. No different when someone sends me crazy energy and I convert it and incentivize myself to make what I say better, so that way somebody else who may be listening or seeing that exchange might be able to understand my point of view differently, and maybe it might reach them so they can start evolving in a different way. So energy is currency, currency is energy, and it translates in the financial world, it translates in your relationships, it translates in your body, mind, and spirit. Okay? And, would finances be part of your body? Well, yeah, because the way you even get finances is the fact that you have the energy to go and walk and get water, to go and get food, regardless of where that food came from. See, that's the whole point of working, right? Is to go and get money to be able to buy food and to buy heat and to buy housing and to buy clothing, to buy shelter, to get all your basic level instincts taken care of. But if you lived in the caveman times, and yeah, you would need energy to go and get water. So you would need energy to make more energy, right? You need money, you need currency to make currency. And if you want to see from a very, I guess, where everything is connected, a rich person has the ability to regenerate their currency, their energy on their own without really the help, I mean, who is mostly independent. And so we kind of live in a backward society where, yeah, you can be rich in money and have a big house and live in the best zip code, but your body is completely decaying. It means you're releasing energy all over the place. You're not holding on to energy. That currency is not being converted to your benefit. And so you might have a house and a car and all these toys, but your body is decrepit. What's the use of your house and your toys and all of your little material goods? And so I wrote something yesterday that really made it hit home for me, because finances was I was never great at finances because I just never really saw it. Just wasn't something that I was really thinking about. But when I look at how I'm able to retain the energy in my body, that currency, and then I measure, just like I measured back when I was in the organic world, about how many toxins you take in versus how many that you're releasing, or not even how much you're releasing, how much good stuff you're taking in versus how much bad stuff. That's kind of the same concept, that how much energy and money you take in versus how much is being released. And if you are overextended or upside down, then you're actually really poor. And that's when they say, you're dead broke. Dead broke, they're both synonymous. There's a reason why there's a term called dead broke. When you're dead, you're broke. When you're broke, yeah, that means you're financially dead, which means then, do you have the energy to go and get yourself out of being broke? Well, if you are aging and degrading and you can't work, now you have to rely on somebody else to make sure that you're able to stay alive, long enough for you to then eventually die, which is such a weird concept, but that's our society. And so and then you look at the industry of energy harvesters. Okay, so you have the loosh looters that are capitalizing on the suffering of other people, and you see them all over the bloggers, all over Facebook, and yes, YouTube. And they capitalize on the misery of others. But then people who put themselves out there who are miserable, they want that attention. They get a benefit from bemoaning their circumstances. And so it's not, you think someone that is highly dramatic on YouTube doesn't enjoy their misery. Oh, they enjoy it. I mean, it may seem like they're not enjoying it, but but what happens is that energy that they are creating, causing parasites to feed off of them, is actually draining them. And so you have to understand that no matter what kind of energy that you are, I don't say creating, remember, you can't say creating, it's converting. The energy that they're converting and they're putting out there, and then people are converting it to whatever, and throw energy back at them, but the person is not using it properly, not to their benefit, and it actually is draining them. Okay, it's draining their finances, it's draining their body, mind, and spirit. And so those are the loosh looters. And then you have the energy harvesters. Okay, the energy harvesters are those that are licensed in the industry to take out the energy of your body, to take out organs, to go and modify your systems, because you don't have the ability to regenerate and have the energy to be able to keep your system going the way it should be to work effectively for you. And so energy harvesters are a dime a dozen, and you must recognize them for who they are, because you'll be fooled into how beautiful they look, how beautiful they sound. You might be hypnotized by their charisma. Okay, the health and wellness industry is fraught with younger women and men who work out, who get facials and liposuction, or claim that they reversed their issues with changing their diet from meat to vegan, and yeah, they may look cute, they may look young for a minute, but what happens is that's a very small window of time. They're capitalizing on that little window. And what they're doing is they're taking energy from their audience and promoting the energy release without retaining the energy, as their platform. And so what happens is that the client actually is a major loser, because not only is their energy not being used effectively by the protocols that are being promoted in the remedies and the diet changes and all the different detoxes and whatever, but they're also giving away their energy and their money to that person. They're, giving them to their Patreon account. They're, and so what happens is that person who is like, this influencer in some kind of health and wellness and meditation and yoga is, well, how would I say it? They are they're like, well, how did I just totally forgot what I was going to say on that. They are a well, yeah, they're an energy harvester, but they're taken away from you that you actually could be directing towards yourself. And so it's deceptive, yes. I, okay, how do I want to say this? We have to look at it from a biological standpoint. Those that are taking away from your finances, that's right. They're capitalizing on that's right. They're capitalizing on your misery. Those are also loosh looters too. And so, psychic, like I said, psychic vampirism, psychic, those that that are trying to diagnose people and then say, okay, work with me, I can help you do this, and they're taking the energy in so many different ways. And so that client actually is losing out twofold, because they are being usurped of their finances as well as the energy in their body. And in the end, the person dies anyways. And then that loose looter, who's also a nutritionist or a therapist or whatever, may temporarily get some benefit from that energy from that person, but eventually that energy that they've taken has not been used effectively and they die too. And so really the riches, what really is rich is how you utilize energy and your ability to get free energy for the most part, or your ability to take what the exchange that you have given and someone that has given you money in return for your time, like when you work, your ability to use that to prolong your life where you're not aging and degrading. See, and that's it's a kind of a difficult concept in a lot of ways, because you have to connect, because we're connecting the financial world and how you deal with your finances within also how you deal with your body. It translates everywhere. So yeah, I mean, I see the deception in those that say, oh yeah, I'm great with my finances. Oh, I'm rich. I have this, I have that, I have that, and they're aging and degrading and their body is breaking down and they're losing all their currency in their body. And so they won't have the ability to make the money, and then they live off of what they've earned over the years, but they won't live long enough. So that house and that car and all their savings and all of their art and everything that they've acquired over the years then has to be sold off for the estate to who knows what, pay taxes, or it gets bequeathed to somebody that or they leave it to charity. So then all that, so essentially your lifetime of energy in your body is now sitting outside of your body. It looks like a house. So when you see somebody that's like a huge estate, like someone that's rich, their lifetime of energy that they've expended now doesn't help them. It helps it helps the corporations that siphoned off the energy, whatever it is that you paid into. It helped the housing market, it helped your government, but it didn't really help you. Oh, but you're under the impression that, okay, 60, 80, 50, 90, 100 years is great. It's all you deserve. And I think humans need to think of themselves a bit I think humans really need to give themselves more credit. They need to put themselves a little bit higher in the priority than these huge corporations that will just siphon the energy out of you. So that's why, when you do go into a job, make sure that you have enough coming in body, mind, and spirit, and that you're retaining as well as money. Okay? And it doesn't always translate into money. It can translate into body, mind, and spirit. It's not taxing you so much. So then, you don't need to get paid as much, and then you're able to maintain a very balanced existence with what you get in return for your services to what it is that you're doling out to for that job, what kind of energy you're returning for that job. So you got to see how that and it's not always equal. So you always have to make sure that you're having enough on reserve, so that way when something happens, that's like savings. You have enough on reserve, so that way when there's something happens. But what is on reserve? Reserve could look like salt, or it could look like money in the bank. Because you know how easy it is to go and just go to like somebody's garden and pay them like 25 cents for that cabbage. Then you go to McDonald's and go get a hamburger. And you can live off the dollar menu at McDonald's, and you can live off of jelly juice. And maybe you might go get some bread for like 75 cents for a baguette. And you actually can live on that. You would get all your necessary nutrients, and maybe you get some lunch meat from Oscar Mayer. There is so much inexpensive food that has all the diverse nutrients and minerals, fatty acids, amino acids, performance, and minerals, that you could live very minimally on a very shoestring budget and live on a very short, like a tiny supply of food. But you have the salt as your currency. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of money in the bank to be able to really prepare for a rainy day. You could have just a bunch of salt, and then you know how much you can live on. And that's utilizing your environment strategically to where, yeah, you can prepare for something that may happen, like, oh yeah, we're going to another pandemic. Who knows what's going to happen as far as the truckers shutting down because they're protesting the elections, and a lot of uncertainties in the world. So if you're able to strategize how to utilize your environment and understand that really the currency is not in the money. The currency is your ability to regenerate and be productive and know how to find things to keep you alive. Okay? And so, let me see what I wrote here. So yeah, I'm bagging on all the different naturopathics and the doctors and on the nutritionists, because you have to understand that if you want to live, you're giving away you're suppressing your evolution and giving away your currency to people who are not going to utilize it properly anyways, because they're steadily dying. And if they're doing the J juice, they shouldn't be charging you anyways. Nobody should be charging anyone to be, coaching through jelly juice. But yeah, when people in the naturopathic, homeopathic, allopathic industry are charging, and they're also prescribing or promoting evolution suppressing protocols, they're siphoning away your energy, body, mind, and spirit with your blessing. And so, what did I say? Oh yeah, equilibrium. Energy harvesters are those who are paid to take out organs and modify your system synthetically, who are also in the business of remedies and protocols to suppress your evolution. They are the drug addicts also. They're the ones that do all the pot and the cannabis. You just transferred your energy, your currency, you could have directed towards yourself to somebody else. So when you're paying a naturopathic, a homeopathic, an allopathic, a nutritional therapist, you're taking away from yourself that you could be going buying salt. You could be buying, cabbage and kale. You deal with your evolution. But remember, you're paying somebody because you're ignorant on your own body, and then they're basically capitalizing on your suffering and your ignorance by saying, okay, I have the answer, I can give you a rest in peace. I can give you peace. Really, it's rest in peace, but I can give you peace for a price, of course. And they're FDA approved, right? And they're licensed by the state, because for you to administer any kind of remedies or protocols out there that have to do with evolution suppression, it's like a low-level poison, and the state has to know that you know what the hell you're doing, so you don't kill off your clients right off the bat. Just slowly kill them, but not outright kill them, right? And so you realize the true energy harvesters are those that are cute, selling you their protocols that are antibiotic, as well as their therapies, herbs, and their meditation practices that have to do with fasting and other evolution suppressing methodologies and modalities. Lucifer and succubus were never ugly. They were always beautiful, convincing you to give them your energy or currency. You think that you catch more flies with vinegar than you do with honey and whatever? No, you catch more flies with honey. So yeah, an ugly person who is not fit and looking like, the societal constructs of what good looking is, if they're not working out and have like these muscles, then you're not going to listen to them. And that is the deception of Hollywood. That's the deception of the health and wellness industry. You think those people that are in those industries are actually healthy? No, they are in entropy. They are dying. But when they're looking very cute, that's the presentation to draw you in. That's the tractor beam. That's the hypnosis. That's hypnosis when you think about it. Oh yeah, she's cute and she's young and she's fit and she wears all these cute jewelry and earrings and all that. I mean, whatever you think beauty is, and you're like, I'm gonna follow her and I'm gonna take her diet thing and her remedies and her MLM and her shakes and all that stuff, and that's how the pharmaceuticals market that also does holistic then uses your friends and family who are cute to get you into their energy harvesting corporation, because that's what corporations are. They're energy harvest. Excuse me. They harvest energy. Okay. So is there any corporation that doesn't harvest? Well, they all harvest energy on some level, but when you're capitalizing on the suffering of others, now that means that could be any industry. So then what is there to do? What is there left to do? Well, at this point, those that are on the J juice that are in those energy harvesting corporations, some of them have possibly redeemed themselves because they're doing the J juice. So they're going to balance out the taking of the energy and capitalizing it, and they're actually putting more energy back into the world, more organized energy. Not so much the random disorder that comes from entropy. Now they're contributing to the negentropy, which is then adding life to the world, not taking away life from the world. And so there is a balance. So yeah, if you're doing J juice and you're in those industries, and you can't promote J juice when you're on the job, of course, I understand that. So then what you're doing is you're going to make sure that you stay alive, and you maybe hit your kids if they're able to take on this information. But if anything, you do the J juice, and you show people in your world over time that yeah, there is no life when you are having your life being siphoned away from you from the holistic allopathic protocols. Okay? So don't be fooled by the youth out there that are being thrown and thrust in front of you as a way to be, because it's deceptive. Even if you energy harvest for free, you still siphon you are still siphoning off someone's life force by promoting the antibiotic evolution suppressing protocols. Because first, yes, you are interacting with them, so you're taking their energy by talking to them, and then you are encouraging them to take something that is antibiotic. You're encouraging them to do all this meditation stuff and yoga and all this energy usurping type of exercise, and the person is already at a deficit, and then you're encouraging them to even usurp more energy, causing more destruction. Okay? And you're taking their energy in different ways, even though it's not always in currency transaction. They are giving you their energy, their time. And if you are paying someone to coach you through Jilly Juice, can you really afford to give away your energy, your currency, when you need it the most? Okay, so you're rich and you want someone to coach you through J Juice? If you're rich, then you should have the ability to be able to understand this information. Because the book, just because you throw money at it doesn't mean that you're actually going to get a return on that investment. There are rich people who make very bad investments. They go invest in some dude here. I'll charge you $75 for my time to go and tell you, and I'm telling you, who's going to come out worse? It's going to be the person that's coaching you. You know why? Because you, as a rich person that think that you can afford to just go and suck the energy out of somebody else. So yeah, a rich person paying someone to coach them through J juice will actually be the parasite. But they'll then dazzle that person, that coach, to think that, oh yeah, I'm going to get money out of this person. And what happens is they both lose. Because if a person doesn't understand this protocol, they don't read and understand the concepts themselves, and they rely on somebody else, then it's no different than a doctor. Then you're allowing somebody to take away your energy that you really can't afford. Because if you're not ready to deal with pain and do things on your own, then there's no way you're gonna be able to do GA juice, because it's a total personal venture. This is not something that you have a counselor with you 24/7. You're not going to have someone living your life 24/7. If you had to have a doctor on speed dial, you definitely parasitic. If you had to have a doctor on speed dial, you have to have somebody that has to coach you through J juice every second of the day. That's not a sign of a person that really should be doing J juice, because they need to be with a doctor who will then suppress their evolution. Because obviously, if you're suffering, then you shouldn't be doing J juice. See, people that do J juice, we're not suffering. It may seem like we're suffering because we're dealing with pain, but we're not suffering. We're adding more life to our body, and we have to deal with the evolution. But those that are going to doctors and wanting to have somebody baby step them through 100% of the time, they are suffering, and they need to go and transfer that suffering onto somebody else. And then that coach is getting their energy usurped, even though the other getting maybe like, whatever money from that person. But really, is it really serving the coach? No, now you're taking on the model of a doctor, and you're not a doctor. That's a doctor-patient type of mentality. And in the beginning of J Juice, it was kind of like that, because that's the world that we came from. People in my world that were next to me were wanting to find ways to make money without having to leave the house, or without having to go work for a corporation or something else. So they're trying to find a way to make money off of J Juice. I'll be a coach. I'll do this. I'll do that. And I really didn't like that, because there's nothing really to coach. What are you going to pay someone $75 to tell you that you got to deal with your predispositions? You can actually tell someone the easiest way to do the protocol is to deal with your evolution, which is basically pain. And if you don't want to deal with pain, go see a doctor. That doesn't warrant somebody. Okay, then the whole thing is, oh well, maybe they want me to coach them to, I don't know, how to make it. Well, I have a how to make it. I have a video. Should you pay someone to tell you how to make the juice? It's not that difficult. You can find how to make fermented food all over the freaking YouTube. You just replace the ingredients with J juice. It's the same thing. But no, they want to find. But then, really, what people are trying to charge for is how to mitigate the pain, and that's what I didn't like, was the fact that that was the foundation when people want to make money off of J juice. Is they were trying to charge people for figuring out how to stop the pain, and that is not the point of J juice, is to stop the pain. If you want to stop the pain, you go see a doctor, but you don't pay somebody in the J juice world to tell you how to stop the pain, because that is undermining everything that J juice is, and then you don't understand J juice, and now you are capitalizing on the suffering of somebody else. And so that's why I never felt good with having a call center. I never felt right with somebody actually making money off of J juice as a coach. Okay? And and I've gone through my stages trying to figure out how best to put this out. What's the best model? And I don't even have any, moderators in my group. Do you realize that the only person that really stuck around with me, really, that stayed around despite the changes, is Bridget? But Bridget was never really part of that, the business model. I mean, she was and she wasn't. She's helped me with some of the illustrations on my book and as someone to bounce off of, but she was never someone I paid. I've paid a few people, and they've helped me out too, and I've helped them out. Let me tell you how much time that I've spent on the phone with some people in my world that was next to me for a while, coaching them, and they still didn't get it. And then they kept fighting me on my evolution, and they kept fighting me. And it just wasn't worth it anymore, because their intention was to make money off of this in some way, shape, or form. And I said, hey, if you want to make money off of this, really, is just to write a freaking book, and then let the people decide whether or not the information you're imparting is worth it to them. Okay? But to charge for coaching you through Jilly Juice, no, that's not the model. Okay? Not everybody can afford currency like transactional, like actual US dollars or euros or Aussie dollars. And so what? They have to go and take the currency within their body, what little they have, and invest time in either, watching the videos or following me, and just do the protocol. The recipe is out there. It's for free. There's shit on the internet. People will show you how to make it. I mean, Ed, whatever his name is, he's not on my Facebook anymore. He made a video on how to make it. I made a video on how to make it. It's not that difficult. Okay, so if you're paying someone to coach you through Jilly Juice, can you really afford, in body, mind, and spirit, to give away your energy, your currency, when you need it the most? The other person already has the energy and the currency to replicate and regenerate. But then, if they're getting paid a shit ton of money because you're a rich person, okay, then what happens is the roles reverse and they start taking energy from you. So the money that you're giving them, now you're taxing the crap out of them, and they're expecting it. When you're a subscriber to a YouTuber, the YouTuber has to now bend to the will of the subscriber because the subscriber is paying their bills, and so then you are now not really working for yourself. You're working for your subscribers. When someone is paying you, now you're not working for yourself, you're working for that person, and whatever that person wants, that person gets because you are paying them. And that is no, I don't want that kind of relationship with anyone where they're saying, okay, well, I paid you, so now you got to be everything that I want you to be, and then I lose myself. I lose the point of the protocol because that person now is dictating how they want their money spent. That's not the model I want. And I've had people do that. We're like, hey, I paid you this, and now you got to be on call for me 24/7. No, you will suck the life out of me. That's why I got away from that, because it was just too much. And thank God I knew my boundaries with that. So nobody should be coaching you through Jilly Juice and then you paying them. Because what will happen is then when you have a lot of money, you'll use that money to then dictate what you want out of the protocol, not what is supposed to be out of the protocol. And that it's an independent thing. So anyways, the other person already has the energy and the currency to replicate, so that's a coach. But when you're paying someone, the roles will reverse. Believe me, I've seen it happen to me. And they should never be taking energy or currency from you to coach you through that Jilly Juice. That is hypocritical, and it will undermine your healing process. So anytime you take money from somebody, in a lot of ways, you're almost beholden to them. And I fell into that a few times where I would, would take donations, and then they're like, well, I donated to you, so now you have to do this, 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 and this. And so they start dictating and throwing their weight around because they contributed to, my evolution. And I tell you, and I do spend a lot of time. I did spend a lot of time with a lot of people that I had next to me. Whether it was Facebook Lives, whether it was actually on the phone or through Facebook Messenger phone, I would spend countless hours and hours training, and then it's still a fight. It just at some point, you're gonna have to figure out who you are and put your boundaries down. So my book does cost money, and you have the choice to buy it or you have the choice to invest in your time to watch my videos. And if you choose to feed me, that is your choice, whether it's energy, just what you say, or if you buy the book. But it is not required, as you have so many options to acquire the protocol without giving more than you're able to afford. And so, yeah, I know in a couple, years ago when I was in the, transitioning from the group to the website, like, oh yeah, you can afford $30 a year or whatever, and maybe not everybody can. And currency and exchange of energy is not only transactional as a currency, it's also what they're willing to invest, and then they give you feedback. And then you're taking that feedback and and you're capitalizing on it. And that's a lot of what I get. I get a lot of people really giving me their energy, and of course I give them the energy. And so there's an equal exchange because either they buy the book or they give me feedback on their testimony or what's going on, or they're saying, hey, that's great, good job. And they're not taking away from the platform. They're not posting about chemtrails and how everyone should be fearful of chemtrails, which I had to take somebody off my Facebook today because they're like, they don't know who I am. And they haven't, and I've let them on my Facebook, so it's very easy to go through my timeline or my pictures and to see what I've covered the last however many years. Go to my mobile uploads and just go scroll through, and you can see all the chemtrails crap that I, was dealing with or talking about. You can see all the anti-vax crap. You can see everything that I've ever covered my whole freaking life on Facebook since 2007. So there'd be no reason anyone should be taking away energy from my platform. If anything, you need to add to it as far as, but I convert that energy and posted what I posted, which is great, and I do that a lot. When people, give me their energy that I don't really necessarily want, I convert it and make it, to my benefit. So I can afford to coach for free on Facebook through my posts and my videos, but I cannot afford to coach people personally. And that's like, well, how does that work? They're paying you. How can, it shouldn't be. No, because let me tell you, when you coach someone personally, they want you at their beck and call. I can't afford to have so many people at their freaking beck and call. And they're giving me their updates all the time. This happened, this happened, this happened. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, and I that's why I say no more private messenger, because I'm gonna tell you, that's where it happens. That's where I felt like so overwhelmed a couple of years ago that I've said finally no private messenger, only testimonies, and if it warrants a response, I will respond, but I do not want to go back and forth through private messenger. I do not. Not. Because it taxes my spirit and it distracts me. And if someone keeps doing it because they're playing stupid games or whatever, because they have this like thug life or whatever, then I just block on Messenger, because it's the only way I can put down the boundaries, because that person absolutely has none. And I've said to people a couple times, don't private message me, and then they stop for a while, and then down the road they're like, do it again. I'm like, okay, they're not doing JJuice, they're not really contributing at all, either in my group or on my page. So I have no reason to have any kind of interaction on private messenger. So I just block on private messenger, and maybe they get the point, maybe they don't. I don't know. So I've already invested my time and sacrificed money to give you a book that is a fast read, or you must invest your time in the videos that are in the pinned post on my business page. So I have so many videos, not a lot, but like maybe 5 or 6 that will give you the premise of JJuice. So if you can't afford the book for whatever reason, and or you don't want to put your credit card out there, or whatever the case may be, then invest your time. You have to have money to make money. You have to have energy to to convert energy. Okay, it takes energy and money to convert it. Okay, you can't just, there's nothing for free in life. You got to take something in your world to get that return on the investment. Because I'm telling you, if you want to invest in the stock market, you have to have money to invest. You can't go like, oh, I want to pick, uh, uh, Sony to make money off of. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, give us some money and we'll invest it for you. Then we'll see if we make a return. They're not going to give you money because you say you want to invest in Sony just in spirit. You need actual currency. But with the JJuice type of stuff, it's the energy, which is currency, as well as currency that you can utilize both. And that way you're not taxing me. You're actually investing yourself. You're not taking from somebody else so you can learn something. That's the whole thing of investing is you have to have energy to make energy or convert energy, and you have to have money to convert money. Okay? So anyway, so you must be able to afford an investment in yourself, so that way you can get a return on your investment. If you don't have enough to invest, there's no way you'll get a return on your investment, and that's so true. It takes currency, energy, and money to make currency, energy, and money. You're going to have to be able to personally invest in the best way you can utilize the easiest modality I've offered the world, so you can finally be rich with the ability to self-replicate at the micro level through mitosis and asexual reproduction. And so a non-existent body has no ability to be able to enjoy what life has to offer, simply because he is dead. Okay, so and that so if you're a rich person with so much money in the bank account, and you are aging and degrading, you have gray hair, and your body's going to shit, you're really not that rich. You're actually quite poor, because you won't be around in the near future. You're not broke, but you're on your way out the door. You're in entropy. Maybe being rich and being elderly is like a balance. But is that really an aspiration? Or can a poor person who doesn't have a lot of money in like a lot of material wealth, but they're able to regenerate, they have access to free energy because they know how to manage their resources in their environment without taking from somebody else? Really? And so you look at, in your relationships, are you taking more than you're giving? I look at, like with me, like not working in a conventional job, and I look at with my husband who works every day, but he has so many toys and so many interests that he's got to be able to finance it. I do what I do, and I don't spend a lot of money. The only things that I require is my phone and internet and food and shelter. And he would already do that anyways if I wasn't around. But then the return on the investment that he gets is that someone that cooks for him, someone that relatively cleans for him, relatively. No, I'm not a major cleaner, but I do keep things relatively okay. I manage the finances, pay the bills. I make sure the dog is okay, and the dog never has to go to a vet. He doesn't have to pay any money for a vet. So I figure out ways where I would not cost him more. I would not cost him any more money than he already has to pay out. But you're married, so why does it matter? Because even in a marriage, if a person is taking more than they're able to return, then you are taking away from that marriage. You're causing more stress. If you know, and that's how I look at it. I mean, if you're in a marriage and you have hobbies, then you should be working for your hobbies. You know, I have a hobby, so what do? I take the money that I make with J Juice, okay, and I reinvest it. And I reinvest it. And the people that have given me money along the way, let me tell you, I've given them so much of my time. Yeah, they could say, well, um, you want to owe me back the money or whatever, and maybe I will down the road. Or maybe they write a book and I finance it. But I'll tell you what, I've given them so much of my time that it's almost like an equal exchange, but that wasn't really, but whatever. It's one of those things where you have to figure out what's worth it to you to pursue. But I'm telling you, the gift of life is far more than whatever someone has given me in the past. Because you have access to regenerate at a macrocosmic level, that whatever money I could potentially owe anyone, which really isn't that much when you think about it, is very minimal to the potential if you stay on J Juice. And the amount of time that I've spent with me. Let me tell you, I've been on the last 4 years, or people that have given me money that I have spent so much time with them. So much. Like, so much. And so a lot of ways I think I really given them a great return on their investment, but hey, they could think differently, who knows. But so that's, that's how I see it. Is like when I'm in a relationship with someone who does work hard, and I see my husband, he works his ass off, and so do I. But I know that if he's making a certain amount of money that keeps us alive, then I have to find a way to fit in with that and not cost him more than he needs to. Okay? And sometimes the investments that I make is also for the betterment for him, as well as what but a lot that's what that he buys is really, for his pleasure, and that's fine. I mean, I don't really care. He's out there every day busting his ass. And so, but that's how I see it, is are you giving more than you are taking? And that's like in any relationship, that's like in anything, in a job, and even the jobs am I giving more to my employees than am I taking away from them? Because if you keep taking from your employees, you won't have an employee force. You keep just, chewing them up and spitting them out, and then you get a reputation for that, right? So, but then, if you're dealing with not a very quality population either, then that's also a factor. So I feel bad for all the HR people who have to deal with people who are sick, who have issues, who have so many, and that's the juggling, when you're dealing with human resources. It's how do you juggle the needs of the company and the needs of the people and still make everybody work, literally. So, anyways, but I want you to see that the connection between energy in your finances, energy in your body, mind, and spirit, and how they all are interconnected. So there's my streams of thought today. I'm going to write some more stuff. But yeah, just start paying attention to what energy you're giving out and what energy you're taking in and what you're retaining, and realize that everything can be measured. And then there are specific measurable results to measure whether or not the energy that you're retaining is being used effectively. And then you look at your finances, look at your finances and see, wow, I really am having a lot more leaving than I am taking in. And that translates also in my body, mind, and spirit. And then you can see the connection between everything. And then it makes how you deal with your life and running your life so much easier when you see the connections in your body, as well as in your finances, as well as at work, and in your relationships with people and friends and husbands and wives and sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers, and you measure the value of people based upon I won't say equal, but are they providing something to you that's going to benefit you, as well as are you also providing something to them that's benefiting them? And it's not always equal all the time, but you're not taking from somebody else, leaving them depleted. And that has to do with even with physical relationships, because there are people out there that will want physically a lot from you than you're willing to give, and you have to also uh, control that. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Sugar.